Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from a very chilly Lady's Garden and Home, and it looks like a freeze is coming. So I'm going to have to harvest whatever summer veggie I can, so I hope you join us. So not particularly smart of me today. I waited until later in the afternoon to check the weather because it seemed like it was clearing up and it would be a nice evening to do a little work in the garden. And I was surprised to find out that we have a freeze warning tonight, not a frost warning. We skipped that. We just went straight from, last weekend being summertime weather to freeze warnings. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to harvest as many of my summer vegetables as I can, and I'm going to hopefully have time to throw, before it gets dark, to throw some frost cloth over my recently planted seedlings. So here we go. I'm going to start with the tomatoes, and I'm going to put them in this bag because I don't think I'm going to have enough room on my countertop in the kitchen to accommodate all of them in a very easy way, a very typical way of ripening up your green tomatoes inside the house is by using a paper bag like this one. So I'm not going to be very fancy about this. I'm just going to take whatever I can. These are the San Marzanos. They've stayed very small since they started, since they started budding up. I don't know if they'll turn red, but I can always do something with them green. I never did have a chance to make fried green tomatoes this year, so I might just do a whole bunch of those. Maybe some green tomato chutney. I have so many cherry tomatoes that are not ripe yet. These are the Midnight Snacker. They're pretty green at the bottom. They turn red when they're ripe. I'm taking them the whole tress. No need picking them individually at this point. I like to do something really nice with these little tiny green cherry tomatoes. A lot of people, when they make their regular fried green tomatoes, use a cornmeal base, and I actually like breading them with the Jiffy cornbread mix. It's a little sweeter. I like it. Last year, I made cornbread muffins with little green tomatoes inside. It was so good. You had this little burst of happy tomato tart flavor in the middle of a nice piece of cornbread. So it's just an idea. This bag sure is starting to fill up. Just within the last day or so, I noticed that these were just starting to color up a tiny bit. These are the Kellogg's Breakfast. They're a yellow orangey type of tomato when they're ripe. So I'm hoping that's enough ripeness. It's enough to get them started ripening up. And here's a Berkeley tie-dye. Down here are the very last of the gooseneck squash. I was really not very hopeful that these would get any bigger than they are. But that's okay, we can use them. Oh, this one looks eaten. All right, these aren't very good. All right, I'm just going to pull this whole plant now. Down here are the bush beans that I planted as a last chance to get a little bit of something summery growing. And honestly, they didn't produce for me very well. You can see there's still a lot of flowers. Well, if we don't end up getting a frost or a freeze tonight, maybe. And this was another grouping of bush beans that I planted. Mixed in with the calendula, it's a little difficult to tell which is which. Onto the peppers. I have a few that still need to be picked. I'm a little disappointed that I have to do this now because I was hoping to get at least one red bell pepper this season. Here's some jalapenos. Oh, hello, broccoli plant. You'll be fine. Now onto my pole beans. A lot of them I'm going to just leave here because I want them to dry so that I have a nice bunch of dried beans that I can store. But there's still some younger, tender ones that I want to bring in. These poor peas, they had just started flowering, and I would have loved to have had some snap peas. I may actually, oh look, I got one. Well, it's very young, but I'm going to take it anyway. Well, the plant should be okay, even if the flowers aren't, and then I can still eat the pea shoots, which I tried just a little while ago in an earlier video, and they were pretty good. They tasted like peas. There's so many more flowers on. It's so sad at the end of the year when you see things that are still trying to grow. But to everything there is a season, right? We did shut the water off leading to the outside. I just have to put this hose away. And I did not yet take this down, pour the water out. I'm leaving the fountain up until I get a really hard freeze. It gives the birds some place to come and drink water. Well, luckily that didn't take too long because it's really chilly out here. The prediction tonight is that it's supposed to get down to 29 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. And if that's for a prolonged period of time, it could be a killing freeze. Certainly my summer vegetables are going to be goners. And I'm hoping that all of the winter plants that I put in, that I'm going to be overwintering, will be okay. My broccolis and that kind of thing. But I did cover up, as you saw, my seedlings that I just planted a little while ago, just to give them a little extra warmth. Hi again. So it is the next day, and I just wanted to show you the damage that happened with actually what turned out to be just a frost. It got down to 30 degrees, that's Fahrenheit, last night, and it could have been worse. More could have been wiped out, but I just wanted to show you. The tomato plants in this bed got very wilty. The peppers along this bed also got pretty wilty. And I'm glad that I took all the tomatoes and peppers because they'd be mushy today. The beans weren't looking too terrific anyway because they're dying back, but they're really not any worse for wear than they were yesterday. I'm very glad to see that the peas weren't damaged. However, the Mexican sunflowers really didn't like the cold. The broccoli is just as happy as it was yesterday, but any green that was on the tomatoes is really rapidly dying now. The bush beans also got very wilted. The begonias took some damage. Not sure they're going to perk up after that. And the impatiens are done. Kind of surprisingly, the petunias are still blooming. And the zinnias took some damage. And that particular rose didn't seem to like being hit by the frost. But the calendula survived like a champ. So all in all, it seems like the damage that I expected happened, and surprisingly some things made it. To be honest with you, I'm getting a little bit tired of the grind of the summer garden anyway, so it's time for me to start pulling some plants and putting some of the beds to rest for the winter. Of course, I've got a lot of growing through the winter that I'm going to be doing, as I had in my last video. We've got some warm weather coming in the next couple of days, but the real cold is coming. So I hope that you're all nice and cozy where you are. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a like. And from the Ladies Garden Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye. Say goodbye, lady. Lady says goodbye.